It's Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors. Ethernet cables, the two things you need to know in 2021. Now, you know the routine. If you like the video, please click the like, and we'd sure appreciate it if you'd subscribe. It really helps the channel, and I produce more videos. Thanks so much. Let's get on with Ethernet cables and the two things that you need to know in 2021. Now, what you need to know is that the internet is getting faster. Let me explain where I live. I live in Comox, British Columbia, which is on an island off the coast of Canada on the west side. Now, we really call this the Shangri-La of Canada because it's so beautiful. We don't make it easy to get here. We charge you a lot of money to get on a ferry. You have to travel for an hour and a half on a ferry. You then get docked at a place called Nanaimo. Remember where they make the Nanaimo bars? Yes. And then you head north and you have to drive for another hour and a half to get to Comox, British Columbia. Now, unfortunately, there's about 80,000 people that live in our regional area who all like this area. So I wanted to set the pace for it being fairly rural. But let me tell you, when the technician connected my gigabit service for Shaw, our cable provider, 6 months ago, he told me that most of the connections now were all gigabit services because that's how they connected your television, not the old PVRs. So yes, it's very common for a big gigabit service now. I also, at the front of my house, TELUS, which is our major telephone company, many years ago had fiber optic cable for me at the front of my house, again providing a gigabit service. So I have two options from my house to get a gigabit service. One of my friends down the street, she works at a bank. She has a very important job. She actually has a gigabit service from both companies, Shaw and TELUS, into her house, and she has a redundant modem system so that it switches if one goes down or one slower. Pretty cool. So the point that I'm making is that a gigabit service now is very, very common. It is also cheap. Can you believe it? $80 a month for a gigabit service with Shaw Cable Services. That's $50 US or even less. Unbelievable. So yes, I do have 1,000 megabits download at my house, and I've been using that now for the past 6 months. Pretty cool. So yes, the internet is getting faster. Starlink is broadcasting across most of the United States now. We're seeing speeds of an average download with Starlink at around 300 megabits per second. This is quite fast and comparable to 5G. The fixed-base 5G is now available in most major centers across the United States. I've talked about this in the past year and would really encourage you to have a look at your internet service provider as things are changing very quickly. The average speed of a fixed-base 5G network is around 300 megabits, about the same as Starlink. But we're going to see as these networks mature over this year, we'll soon see that the fixed-base 5G will quickly become a gigabit service. Now, for those of you who are lucky enough to be close to the very fast 5G, the millimeter wave, you'll see potential 5,000 or 5 gigabyte download in those areas. Pretty darn fast. But hold on now. China is already rolling out its 6G networks, and it looks as though they're going to be up to 200 gigabit download. This is made by Huawei in China. So the internet is going to get very fast, very quick. Hold on, put your seatbelt on. Now, most of you connect your computers and devices through Wi-Fi in your home. We've talked about Wi-Fi congestion in the past, and certainly it is a problem as these speeds increase. You've already heard and we've talked about Wi-Fi 6, but my feeling is that as this internet increases in speed, we're going to need Wi-Fi 7, Wi-Fi 8, Wi-Fi 9, and it's never going to catch up. We also have problems with network congestion in condos, apartments, places where there's an overload of Wi-Fi signal. So for this reason, I've always recommended that you plug your computer into your router with a cable. Cable is so important. We've talked about that before. One of the biggest mistakes I see people making is when I visit them and to do tech work, I see that they have their modem and router sitting right by their computer, 2 feet away, and they're using Wi-Fi. Bad idea. Pull out your cable and just connect it. It will always work faster. And this is going to be very important as we move ahead with these extremely fast internet connections. Well, behind me are Cat5 Ethernet cables. And you're going to say, whoa, Ron, what's all that terminology? Well, Ethernet simply means network. So a cable that's going to connect to your network is called an Ethernet cable. Now, these cables have different categories, and we're going to talk a little bit about that today. But just to let you know, you probably are looking at the RJ45 plug, which is sitting up on my left shoulder here. The RJ45 plug, along with Cat5 cables, have been around for 40 years. Yes, the RJ45 connector was designed in 1980. Yikes. So the good news, you all have these cables sitting around your house. And when I say you should plug in your computer to your router with a Ethernet cable, you say, yeah, I've got one of those. And in fact, when I retired a long time ago, I had about 10 boxes of Ethernet cables in my house here. I finally sent them all to recycling. Now, if you look over on the right side, you're going to see some Ethernet cables I have. The bottom one is an old Ethernet cable, which I am embarrassed to say was in my studio here. And that is the reason I'm making this video, because that was connecting part of my very fast network. The ones on top you'll see, they're colored, and they are actually Cat6 cables. So what does all this mean, and why did I make this video, and what pointers can I give you? Well, let's look at that. Yes, the cables have categories, and we're going to talk about Cat5 cabling. We're going to talk about Cat5e, and really that's the only 2 things you'll need to know. There'll be Cat6, Cat7, and Cat8. So let me explain the categories on this, okay? All right, here are the 2 things that you need to know. Remember, I told you there were just 2 things that you need to know in this video. The Cat5 cabling, and the category is written on the side of the cable, so you can look at the side and read the category of the cable. Cat5 cabling hasn't been sold for many, many, many years now. And however, you probably have those cables sitting around your house and are using them. The old Cat5 cabling had a rating of 100 megabit per second and a run of about 330 feet at about 100 megahertz. So what does all that mean? Well, it means that if you're running a network and the speed that the data is going to go through the cable on a Cat5 cable is around 100 megabits. That was fine many years ago when we had very slow internet, when we're talking about 2, 5, 10, 20 megabit per second. But as I've said earlier in this video, we're now looking at extremely fast speeds. So those Cat5 cables won't carry the signal, particularly if you're now on fixed base 5G or Starlink. You don't want to be using your old Cat5 cabling. If you've bought a Cat5 cable in the last, let's say 10 years, you would not have bought the old Cat5. You would have bought the Cat5e, which is in the enhanced. And the Cat5e is 1,000 megabits, or it's a gigabit cable, which is good. And again, the distance it can go is around 330 feet with the same bandwidth of about 1,000 gigahertz. So that is what you need to know. You want to make sure, if you're using a fast network, that you're not using the old Cat5 cable. But you really should look at getting Cat6, and we're going to talk about that next. All right, here are the specifications for Cat6 cabling. If you look at the diagram, you'll see that it carries the speed at 10 gigabits per second, well within any of the internet providers' signal at present. It goes for about 180 feet, but more importantly, the bandwidth that will carry is 250 megahertz, or 2.5 times what a Cat5 cable is going to carry. It can carry that much more data. Now the Cat6A cables, again, 10 gigabytes, which is the same. They can go for a longer cable run, and you can get up to 330 feet on a 6A cable. Again, it's still 250 megahertz. Now the cost of these is really cheap and no different than Cat5, so we're now at a stage that everyone should be using Cat6 cabling. I don't know why it's so expensive at Best Buy. I tried to buy some the other day, but it is very cheap on Amazon. I bought five cable, five 5-foot sections of cable of Cat6 cabling. It came with the ends and color-coded and everything on them, as you saw in the diagram, and it was $18 Canadian, which would be probably $13 or $14 US. So it is just as cheap, if not cheaper, than Cat5 cabling. So that is what you should be using. Now I wanted to just remind you, if you sold your home and you moved into a condo or an apartment that was maybe 25 or 30 years old, you then arrived and said, that's great, it's got cabling in the walls, just what Ron asked for. We won't use Wi-Fi. It's going to be a very congested area because it's a big apartment building, and we know there's a lot of congestion, Wi-Fi congestion. It's got cabling and we can plug it in. Well, just remember, the cabling in the walls is most likely going to be the old Cat5 cabling. And if you've connected to 5G fixed base and you've got a really fast connection for your apartment, it's not going to work. Conversely, you should make sure that if you are building an extension on your house, you're putting a room on, you're adding some cable in, which you should add the cable, please make sure you at least consider Cat6 wiring. You don't want to be putting wiring back in the walls that will limit the functionality of your internet speed. Well, the Cat7 cable transmits data at the same as the Cat6, but the amount of data is 600 megahertz, which is 3 times as much data that it will carry. I think if you're planning an expansion in your house and you're looking towards putting new cabling in, Cat7 isn't that much more money. I think this is certainly well worthwhile and something you should consider. Now, there is a Cat8. Yes, there is a Cat8, which of course transmits at 40 gigabits, but has a 2,000 megahertz bandwidth that's going to transfer data at. And of course, I had to buy one of those cables. They're about 3 times the cost of a Cat6 cable, and you'll see it on the left-hand side of your screen. It's a little bit thicker. It still has the RJ45 connector. Why did I buy that? Well, because I co-host a show called Tech for Senior, and my two co-hosts, Bob and Hewie, don't have a Category 8 cable. So I wanted bragging rights, and I can say now that I have Category 8 cabling in my house. It's Ron Brown. I hope you've had as much fun watching this video as I had making it. Remember, please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon for the next video.
Please like this video and subscribe to our channel. Tech for Seniors, Twitter. I'm Hewie Poplock. What this is, Tech for Seniors friends are typical seniors. Many shy away from social media. Those who use social media usually use YouTube and Facebook. Very few, if any, use Twitter. We will cover why you might want to use Twitter, and we'll also cover some ways to use Twitter. What this isn't, a Twitter tutorial, a review of Twitter. So what is Twitter? This is a shorter branch of social media and is for quick updates of up to 280, formerly 140 characters. Twitter is an option that makes you think about the words you use because you only have so many. You can share images and articles as well. Twitter is shorter than other social media, such as Facebook. Twitter began as an SMS text-based service. This limited the original tweet length to 140 characters, which was partly driven by the 160 character limit of SMS, with 20 characters reserved for commands and usernames. Over time, as Twitter evolved, the maximum tweet length grew to 280 characters. Still short and brief, but enabling more expression. Photos can be up to 5 megabytes. Animated GIFs can be up to 5 megabytes on mobile and up to 15 megabytes on web. Twitter accepts GIF, JPEGs, and PNG files. They do not accept a BMP, TIFF, or other file formats. Your photo will be automatically scaled for display in your expanded tweet and in your gallery. Let's look at the percent of U.S. adults in each demographic who say they ever use any of these social media. We'll zoom in a little bit and we'll see that this chart has a lot of information in it, but we're going to zoom in on the 50 and above range. That's two groups, one from 50 to 64 and one to 65 plus. That's what most of the people who are on Tech for Seniors fall into these categories. And let's look at Twitter explicitly. And the 50 to 64, there's about 18% say they have ever used Twitter, but 65 and above, only 7% have used Twitter. Now, there are several different participation levels in Twitter. You can share nothing, all the way up to share actively. You can follow interesting people, consume their tweets, and follow news and trends without ever participating more than that. You can use it to follow brands, you can use tweets for customer support, and you can like and retweet. And on the sharing actively, you can tweet about news topics and news, you can share pictures and videos, and you can comment on other tweets. Here's a typical tweet from twitter.com. You'll see that there's an avatar for the user, and then their username and handle will come after the @ at the top. In the article, there is a link, and then at the bottom, you can reply, you can retweet, you can like, or you can share. Now, I use a program called Hootsuite. I'm going to demonstrate both Twitter and Hootsuite. But let's take a look at Hootsuite. This is an article that I posted on Twitter using Hootsuite, and this is how it appears on Hootsuite. You'll see at the bottom that you can do the same. Reply, retweet, quote, or edit. You can like it. You can assign it to or assign it to me. And you can reply direct message or send to an email. This was an article that I posted because Amazon had delivered packages and set them on our handicap ramp. And I said they shouldn't be doing that. So I did the @Amazon to call the attention of Amazon. Within minutes, I got a reply from Amazon's help. We'd like to look into this with you. Can you tell us if this happened with the same carrier each time? You can find this information. I replied to them. They then gave me a link to go in and fill out a form, which I did, and they then said that they will do some follow-up. So within minutes of me posting something on Twitter, I got a reply from Amazon. That wouldn't happen if you posted on Facebook, or if you try to reach them by phone or by email. Certainly wouldn't be within minutes that you would hear from them if they were going to do anything at all. Okay, let's do a quick demo of Twitter and of Hootsuite. Let's go to twitter.com. I'm already signed in. You'll see that this is my Twitter page. You can see that I can scroll down and see many articles. But let's go down to profile. This shows my profile. It shows that I joined in April of 2008. I am following 187 people, businesses, or groups, and I have 119 followers. I can click on this and it will show me what I am following, and I can also look to see who my followers are. So let's go back to the home of Twitter, and this is in the time order. So it'll be the latest. So this was 2 minutes ago. This was posted by someone that I'm following. These are all things that I follow, and that's all I see. Now, I can go to any one of these, let's say Review Geek, see who that is, but then I can also click on the article. It takes us to that article, and I can read the article. Then I can go back to Twitter, and there it is. And then I can either reply to it, retweet it. That means I can click on it and then post it with my name. And this is what gives it a lot of traction. I can just like it, or I can share it with somebody else in several different ways, including emailing it. So that's pretty much what Twitter is about. You just go down and you can see the different articles. There's very little. It only shows up to 280 characters. That's all it allows. And they may not have all 280 characters. You can find any particular article and then click on it and read more if there is more available. That may be all there is, but then you can retweet it, you can like it, you can do whatever you want with it. So you don't have to do anything but just look at the articles. So you're not an active user, but you can still utilize the information that you can get from Twitter. Hootsuite.com. Let's go to Hootsuite.com. Hootsuite is a website, and they also have an app that allows you to use some social media programs within one website or within one app. I have the free version, so I'm only allowed one social media, and I chose to use Twitter. I am logged in to Hootsuite, so when I click on Hootsuite.com, I have the choice to go to Dashboard or upgrade my plan. But we're going to go to my dashboard, and here is my dashboard. I have some preset searches in Hootsuite. I have my home. I have anything that I have tweeted, anything that mentions my name, and then I'm following Gig of Stacy, which is Stacy Higginbotham's Internet of Things account, so I can see anything there. So let's take a look first at my account or my profile. You'll see that I do have a free plan, and so I could upgrade from here, but I'm using the free plan. So we're going to come back to my dashboard, and you can see here in the home column are any of the tweets that I've gotten that are up to date. and in order of time. So we start with 2 minutes ago, and as we scroll down, you'll see that you may even see some articles that we saw when we were using the Twitter page, because obviously any of these tweets are things that I'm following on either. It's going to show up in either of them. Now, if I want to add one, I am going to search now. I'm going to search for Chromebook. When I do, it creates a new stream or column, and it shows me anything that's got Chromebook in it. But you'll notice that some of these are from other countries and languages that I don't know how to read and don't understand. So I can do something about that, however. I am going to delete that stream, and this time I'm going to do a search on Chromebook and add LANG for language, EN for English, and tell it to search. And now any of those that were in foreign languages are no longer there, and I have all of the tweets that have the word Chromebook in them. Some of them may be something I'm interested in, some may not. Sometimes I find some interesting articles or some interesting photos to use in some of my presentations. So I like to have this. So here's something for 10 quick tips for your Chromebook. And if I click on it, it will open it up. This is something from YouTube and other articles dealing with Chromebooks or Chrome with the word Chromebook in the article. Now I can also add another stream. I can add another social network if I'm in the paid version. So I could actually, let's take a look at that. I could add Facebook. Obviously, we have Twitter in there now. I could add Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, or Pinterest if I was using a paid account, which I am not. I can also post from Hootsuite if I wanted to as well. That's pretty much it for Hootsuite. I just use it because it's more convenient than Twitter, and I'm able to do searches a lot quicker and have certain searches already completed for me whenever I go there. So I can add more columns, add more streams if I wanted to. And so as soon as I open a Hootsuite, it's up to date and has all of the stream that I am looking for. Hootsuite.com. Thanks for joining us. This has been Twitter for Tech for Seniors. I'm Hewie Poplock.
Good morning, it's Ron Brown with the Silvercom Computer and Technology Club. Today I want to talk about how to take a photo or video with the camera app on a Chromebook. Chrome OS has just added a video feature to the camera app in your Chromebook. Now it is easier than ever to take a picture or video with your Chromebook. An example here in the menu, you'll see the video and the photo app in your Chromebook app. Now most Chromebooks come with a forward-facing camera that is used for a webcam. Some Chromebooks now are coming with rear-facing cameras, and if you have a flip or a 2-in-1 Chromebook, you can turn the page around, turn the screen around, and use your webcam as a rear-facing camera. Now the first thing that you have to do is you have to find the camera app on your Chromebook. All Chromebooks will have a camera app, and my advice would be to pin it to the shelf of your Chromebook. Now I have a little video here and I'm going to demonstrate exactly how this works. Alright, you'll see me starting the camera app, and here's the camera app as it comes up. You'll see there is a video and a photo, so you can do either a video or photo with the app. And here we are taking a picture with the button to take a picture. Now we can move over to settings on the left side, and you'll see you can set the grid type either to 3x3 or 4x4. There's also a timer. You can also mirror the image. And after you've taken the pictures, you can go to Gallery, and the Gallery, you can roll through the pictures that you've taken with your Chromebook in the Gallery. However, all the pictures are stored on your Chromebook in the Downloads directory. So when you come there and you look in your Downloads directory, you will see all your pictures you've taken with your Chromebook. Now, many of you will want to have Google Photos upload the pictures from your Chromebook direct into Google Photos. So the most important thing you do is you bring up the Google Photos app, and you come over to Settings, and you'll see Device Folders. I want you to open this, and you need to click on the Download directory. And then over on the right-hand side, you'll see a toggle switch, and you want to make sure this is toggled on. When this is toggled on, as you'll see up here in the right, when this is toggled on, that means that all your pictures that will go into the download directory will be uploaded to Google Photos. If that's not turned on, they will stay resident on your Chromebook. Have fun! Enjoy the camera app and take some pictures with your Chromebook.